Welcome to the Daily Decant, your 5-minute briefing on the world of wine. Each episode delivers practical insights to help you choose, order, and talk about wine with more confidence in everyday social settings. Let's get into today's decant. If you like Napa Cabernet but want something a little less obvious, a little more value conscious, and still very satisfying, try Washington Cabernet. Napa Cabs have a strong reputation for a reason. They're bold, polished, rich, and often connected to steak dinners, celebratory meals, business settings, and the kind of bottle people order when they want to feel confident. It's one of the most recognizable red categories in the country, and for many people, it becomes the default. And by the way, this week we're switching it up a little bit, and we're doing if you like X, try Y. So we've gotten a little bit of the background on a couple different bottles, different situations, but we're going to dive in a little further this week, so hopefully you love it. Once you know you like Cabernet, the next useful step is not just buying more Napa, it's learning where else Cabernet can work for you. And Washington State is one of the smartest places to look. Fun fact, I actually lived there for a year in the Columbia Valley wine region, which was an interesting experience. Washington Cabs give you a lot of what people love about Napa. You still get dark fruit, you still get structure, you still get a wine that feels serious enough for a nice dinner and easy enough to bring to a gathering, but the style often comes across a little more restrained and a little less flashy, and that can be a very good thing. In the glass, Washington Cabernet often shows blackberry, black cherry, plum, cask, along with notes of cocoa, cedar, dried herbs, or a little pepper. It usually has enough body to hold up to steak, burgers, roasted meats, or richer comfort foods, but it often carries that weight with a little more freshness than a very plush Napa Cab. The balance is exactly why it's used so socially. So if you're at a dinner, you want to order a bottle that still feels recognizable and crowd-friendly, Washington Cabernet is a strong move. If you're bringing wine to a dinner party and want something that seems thoughtful but not overly niche, this works. If you're choosing for a client dinner or a business meal and want a red that feels polished without defaulting to the most obvious region, again, Washington Cabernet gives you this range. But it helps with one of the most important confidence-building skills in wine, which is learning how to stay near your preferences while still broadening them. A lot of people assume becoming more comfortable with wine means making a huge jump into unfamiliar grapes, obscure regions, or bottles they can't pronounce. But in real life, confidence often grows faster when you make smaller, smarter moves. So that's exactly what this is. Napa Cab is your known favorite. Washington Cabernet is the next logical bottle. It's familiar enough to feel safe, but different enough to expand your palate and your vocabulary. And that matters because wine confidence is often less about tasting and more about decision making. So when you're sitting with a wine list, standing in a store, or choosing what to bring to someone's home, you want a few dependable answers. Washington Cab can become one of those answers. It's also helpful because it gives you a very simple way to talk about wine without sounding rehearsed or overly technical. You don't need to explain climate, elevation, or vineyard details, and you can just say something like, if you like Napa Cab, Washington Cab is worth trying because it has the same dark fruit and structure, but often feels a little fresher and less expensive. That sounds informed, practical, and easy. One memorable thing about Washington wine is that the state has built a reputation for producing high-quality Cabernet while still flying under the radar compared with California. That means many wine drinkers have not explored it as much, which gives you a chance to introduce something new that still feels accessible. So the next time you are about to reach for Napa out of habit, pause for a second and consider Washington. You might get the same sense of depth and confidence you want from the Cab, while also finding a bottle that feels more flexible and a little more interesting. Here's your takeaway for today. If you like Napa Cabs, try Washington. When you want a red that feels familiar, polished, food-friendly, and just a little bit less expected. It's a simple switch, but a really smart one. So that's today's Daily Decant. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and share with your friends so you can continue building your wine knowledge in just a few minutes a day. See you tomorrow for your next Decant.